Hey there everybody, and welcome back. It's a brand new year. I hope you're very excited. We certainly are as we move into episode 5 of our Vanquish series. Lots changed since our last episode. We've got our cladding on, windows are starting to arrive, insulation's done, and the wrapping is almost completed. So there's a lot to show you. Super excited. Come on in and have a look with us. Well, we're at a critical stage now, which is the installation, and today I brought along and like to introduce my business partner and director, James, who's a project manager, and also we've done a lot of I'm basically the technical expert on the project. You want to talk through us what's happening here, mate?
Yeah, so essentially what we've had to do with our passive house consultant, John from Ecolateral, at the start of the project is sit down and understand what our wall system's going to be and what insulation value, which is what we call our R value, is going to be incorporated into that. We essentially came to the conclusion that in tropical Queensland, the best solution was to use a 40mm PIR insulation on the outside of the wall frame. This sits between timber battens that are on top of the studs. We then decided to slot these in between those battens, and then with a vapor permeable membrane on the outside of that. And then to increase our R value right up to 4.5, which gave us the green light in the PHPP model, was we'll actually end up adding another R2.5 HD wall bat in between each stud on the inside of the wall frame. So, and then on top of that will be our airtight membrane.
What's the total R value when we're done?
This will give us a total R value of about 4.5, and that's given us the green light tick of approval.
So basically the same sort of insulation as an esky. So definitely not your standard house, definitely a lot of work gone into it.
On top of this, we also looked at our thermal bridging. So we actually modelled our wall system as well. So our timber battens, our timber studs, and made sure that there was no thermal bridging occurring into the internal envelope, the thermal envelope we call it.
And we managed to source this from a local supplier here in Brisbane, which is also a bit of a benefit for us as well.
Yeah, so we teamed up with Australian Reflective Insulation, which is people know as ARI, and they teamed up and got on board and supplied this great insulation for us.
So here we have one of the windows that's one of the larger panels that's going to be installed upstairs. And one of the interesting things about these is they're completely thermally broken. So what I mean by that is that temperature or sunlight or heat that's exposed to this side of the window can't actually transfer through here. And that's all modelled with thermal imaging to make sure that heat can't transfer into the house. So if sun shines on this side of the window or heat's applied to it, it can't actually move through due to the structure and air gaps at a position within the window. What these windows are designed to do, we wanted to keep a large amount of glazing in the house, for one, to encapsulate these amazing views, and also architecturally, so the aesthetics of the house don't get interrupted. But at the same time, these windows are still able to tilt and both pivot side to side, so you can still allow air in whilst maintaining the air tightness and the views. Well, I just wanted to touch a little bit more on the wrapping of the house, because that's advanced since we last spoke in our previous episodes as well. And what you can see here is it's taking stock and start to get a clear picture of the whole of the envelope. So you can see the airtight wrapping right across the ceiling. Well, this will be taped here as it joins into these corners, and you can see we've brought it right through now to the window frames. So once those frames come into here, we'll expand that flap out and then tape this and maintain a completely airtight envelope. And even in behind this wall here now, this is basically a completed wall before sheeting, and we'll have we've got the PIR insulation and then more insulation behind it, and then cladding. So we're starting to see a wall around about 150, 170mm thickness. And then from here, this will be left like this until we conduct our first blower door test to check air tightness before we start to clad and sheet the internals and nail into it. One interesting thing about this Vanquish property is that not only is it the most advanced home ever to be built in Australia, but it's also been completely built from solar power. This whole development here was originally 1,000 square metres that we subdivided into 2 properties, or two lots. And the house next door has been producing more power than it's been consuming now for over a year. And as a result, we've been plugged into the house next door and built this entire house without the use of any generators, completely based off solar. And this house is still net zero.